Hey guys, it's Saskia with Posty, and we are on week 4 of our worm composting adventure. So I don't know about you guys, but every week it feels like there's a new drama. Either the bin's too dry, it's too wet, the worms are escaping, there's always something. This week my drama was other bugs in the bin, so I'm going to talk a little bit about that. Otherwise, what we're going to need to get started this week is our blender, some eggshells, our scraps, and mine are actually already blended. I made a ton last week, so I have leftover. Obviously our bin, some bedding, an eggshell carton if you have it, a spray bottle if you need it, I definitely don't, and then a fork. Intrigued? Let's dig in. So just like last week, we are going to kick it off with our eggshells, and the same tips apply. You want to make sure that not only are they rinsed, but that you've either baked or microwaved them to kill any harmful bacteria, and then we want to blend it down as finely as possible, almost to a powder. And I was seeing a bunch of mites in my bin, which means that the acidic levels have gotten too high. Eggshells are a great neutralizer, so I am going to scatter these all over the bin. So these scraps are leftover from last week. They are already prepped, but make sure if you don't have leftovers that you froze them, thawed, drained, and chopped them up really, really small prior to burying them. And I'm going to go all the way to the bottom as usual. I'm going to put a little bit less food in. Another way to get rid of these bugs is just not to feed the bin for 2 weeks. I'm feeling a little guilty and I don't want to starve my worms, so I'm just going to feed them less and see what happens. And I'm just really going to douse these in eggshells. And then I'm going to make sure to break them up. Again, this is going to help the worms move through that food faster and avoid any of those hot pockets. And I'm going to actually add eggshells to the entire bedding, not just limiting it to the scraps this time. I'm going to start with a sprinkle on top, and then I'll go through and fluff to get it throughout the entire bin. So bugs are also a sign that things have gotten too wet. And a way to counteract that is to introduce air and oxygen to your bin. So I'm going to go through and fluff with my hands. I'm sure there are gardening tools you can use. You could probably use a fork. The other thing I'm going to do is add more water absorbent bedding. So an egg carton is a great way to do that. You can also use cardboard, and this will just absorb a little bit more water than newspaper would. So now I'm going to go ahead and seal up my bin. I'm going to keep a really close eye on the lid though, and if I start seeing condensation, I'm actually going to take the lid off and let it air out for a couple days. This will create a less favorable environment for those mites. And if the worms are happy, they will actually stay in place even with the lid off. If they're not happy, they might make a run for it. Keep them in the cardboard box if you need to. And then the other thing you can always try doing is setting some traps. So putting like potato rinds or bread and milk on a plate on the top of the bedding and then removing that once the mites flock to it. Otherwise, congratulations for making it through week 4. If you have any questions or concerns, check us out at goposty.com.